How do you measure learning success? By courses completed or by real improvements to skill, productivity, and revenue? See, learning isn't about passive consumption. Learning is about doing. Docebo makes it easy to create, manage, and deliver learning to every audience across the entire skills journey. Your learners will adapt faster, get more done, and grow their skills, organization, and careers. Docebo. Never stop learning.
Hey, want a cookie? Oh, I know you just ate, so you're craving something a little sweet. Besides, one cookie isn't gonna kill you. How about half? Just a bite? Bite it. Bite it. Bite it.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. Your affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on a path to successful weight loss by quieting food noise.
Bite it.
Shh. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lou Need, and today I have the honor and the privilege of introducing a very special guest to the show, Kristine Ovsepian. She is a clinical hypnotherapist with a master's in psychology and the founder of Journeys to Heal. Now, for decades, she has helped clients to move beyond, you name it, depression, anxiety, fears, phobia, stress, and just plain old emotional blocks, right? And so I am really excited to have her on here so we can talk about what hypnotherapy is, how it works, and how you kind of get to target your inner child and kind of do that inner work for healing. So with no further ado, Kristine, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Doctor.
It's such a pleasure. I love a hero's journey here, and I want to hear how you got started with all this, with the hypnotherapy.
When I go on podcasts, I always try to keep it as short as possible, but it's almost impossible to keep it short because my journey has truly been a journey of spending many years in, accounting and trying to force that world and just hitting rock bottom at the end of the day. And because it wasn't mine, it was not my mission, it was not my journey. And I've always been a people person, and I love this communication and connection, and doing accounting, being behind a computer all day long was just not doing it for me. So for many years, I found myself just really, my soul just gently, slowly, I don't even know what the word is, dying in a sense, although it's a very severe word to use, but that's what it felt like. It felt like my soul was just crying from within and just screaming for change. But of course, our world and the way we're raised, oftentimes it's like, that's the safety. Dreams don't make you money. And hypnotherapy, especially, I come from a Christian background. It was frowned upon 16 years ago. I remember when I would tell people what I do and what I go to school for, I would get the weird faces. Like, what is that? As if that was something dangerous. But yeah, 16 years ago, my life truly changed. And with truly prayer, to be honest with you, through prayer and trust and faith and surrender to the divine of just save me. I want to help people. I want to be of service. That was my prayer every day while I was crying and going to my accounting job every morning. And it was just divine intervention. I had this very vivid dream. And in my dream, I was wearing a white coat, but I knew I was not a doctor, but I knew I was helping people, healing people. And at that time, mind you, I had no idea what truly hypnotherapy was. I knew about stage hypnosis, that people go and do fun things on stage and people laugh and we have fun and we walk away. But I did not know that through hypnosis, you can do therapy. So I literally looked at myself in that dream and I just really simply just said, I remember who I am. And I woke up that morning, and at that time I was still trying to force the accounting world. So I was studying for the CPA exam, and instead of studying, it was just like this nudge from within me saying, type in that word. And as I typed it in, I was like, what the heck am I doing? What is this word even? And I found a school that was literally 10, 15 miles probably from me. And it had been around for over 40 years, the only accredited school in the nation and all that stuff. And I was like, how does this world exist that I didn't know about? Right. And to be honest with you, the first day I went to class, I sat down and the class started, and the things that they started to talk about the mind, about the subconscious, about our power to change. And I literally was like a child in a candy store and I couldn't get enough of it. And in the program, I remember that entire year in the program, everybody from teachers to supervisors to my friends, my classmates were making fun of me, going, you should just bring your mattress and spend the night here. And because you're just always here, because I was just so invested. And my children were so young at the time. And coming from the background and the culture that I come from, you can't just be really satisfied with one avenue or clinical diploma. Of course, I went back to school for a master's in psychology to connect kind of science with that. And 16 years later, I'm sitting across from you as we started the session, saying the words to each other, blessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And truly, truly feeling blessed, having met all the beautiful souls that I've met over the past 16 years, meeting the beautiful souls that I'm still meeting and helping and supporting and guiding. And the most beautiful part about what I do is how quickly the change happens, how quickly. I myself had to go and find a therapist that graduated from the school because I was like, if I go and I do sessions and this works, I'm a believer. So before I even signed up to the school, I went and got myself hypnotherapy sessions. And it was just literally like this awakening, this night and day feeling from inside, kind of like lost in the clouds to suddenly, the world is clear. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. And I became a believer. And so it took me on that journey. And I was like, if I can change, because at that time, I have just so much fear, so much doubt, so much worry, so much blockage of thinking, okay, what else am I going to do? I've been doing accounting for so many years. Who's going to hire me? I tried so many nonprofit organizations and you name it, orphanages and all that stuff. And all I was getting was, donate money. And I was like, I don't want to donate money. I want to be of service. And the doors were always closed, but this door was waiting to open for me that I didn't even know existed. So yes, faith, trust, belief got me to where I am today.
It sounds like it was a homecoming for you, right? Like coming 100, home because
100%.
The way it just connected, you typed in the word and the school was down the street. The only accredited in the nation is right next door to you. And it was just like so fitting. So you felt like right at home, it sounds like.
100%.
Like you were being called in. You mentioned you went to get your master's in psychology to connect the two. Let's talk about that connection. What have you found?
Yes. So what I found is the mind is the mind, whether we look at it through, Western or Eastern, it's the mind, the power of the mind and the way the mind changes is in the same way. Every single one of us on a daily basis, we go through, and this is what people don't understand, that we are running literally every day of our lives in a hypnotic state, either in a positive one or a negative one, but we're in a hypnotic state. So the alpha and theta, delta levels of the mind get us to a deep, majority of humans, I want to just say, unfortunately, run on beta. And beta is stress, anxiety, panic, depression. All of it, all of that stuff where we're constantly running on adrenaline, which isn't healthy for our mind nor body. This is why people's minds and bodies break down. This is why people have breakdowns. This is why people have depression, anxiety. This is why people have panic attacks. I hear it every day. People just losing control for no reason. And I know there's a reason. I'm just saying it because there is no reason for us to live that way. That's what I'm trying to say when I say there's no reason. There's always a reason. There's always a trigger. There's always something that happens in our lives. The first question I ask my clients, when that happened, what was happening in your life? And many times they're not asked that question, unfortunately. Why are we missing asking that question to people? Because there's always a root cause. of why we experience what we experience. So for me, it's kind of like getting to know how the mind works was just so profound, so empowering, and realizing that I have control over that. If I have the right tools, I have control over that. Those were one of the major reasons why I wrote my books, because to me, it was just like, we need to share this. And I know there's a lot of information out there, but I was like, I know there's going to be people that will find me to get that information from. So it's so important for us to share, to understand we do have a choice. Life is not happening to us. Life is happening for us. So for me, kind of understanding how the mind works, and our mind is as powerful as it is also so simple. The change can come so easily. When my clients ask me how many sessions would I need, I tell them, how quickly are you ready and willing to change? Because everybody's different. Some of my client prior to our meeting, literally I've had one session with her and she's had epiphanies. She took her power back. She went from being completely frozen and unable to do an interview, just freezing up, just literally, she was telling me, she asked the question to be repeated 5 times in an interview, to today, only one session later, on Monday, she has an interview. And she was like, oh my goodness, I know exactly how I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up as my authentic self, because that's where my magic is. That's where my power is. And this is where our world, the change has to happen and is happening regardless whether we like it or not, that many of us are recognizing we need to stop wearing those masks, trying to please everybody else. We need to just be our authentic self, because when we are just being our authentic self, there's nothing that we need to change or fix or do anything other than just be our authentic self.
Yeah.
So I hope I didn't go too long with that answer, but
you're talking about stop the performance. There's a lot of performance that happens throughout the day with our interactions, how we show up in the world. And a lot of times it's not our fault. It is subconscious. It is the programming that you're talking about that you help people with. Help us understand, because you specialize in inner child work. And I imagine like 90% of those will stem from that, right? Because we're on autopilot. We're most impressionable from the first, 5-7 years of our lives. And so a lot has happened that actually set the tone, the direction of our life. So let's talk about that inner child work that you do.
Absolutely. So it's not even, I wouldn't even say 90%, I would say 100% of the time. There's not a single client that I've worked with, even my teenage clients, that the programming didn't start from childhood. It's the information we're given. It's the fact that we come with a mission, with a purpose, with this ambition and drive and magic. When we look at children, all we see is their magic, their freedom. And then society and parents and grandparents, oh, you can't say that. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oh, no. What do you mean you see spirits? What do you mean you see energies? You can't say that. They're going to make fun of you, right? And we're basically take our children and we try to fix them, change them, break them to mold. And children quickly start to, even if you look at 4 or 5-year-olds, sometimes they act different with grandparents, then they act different with mom, and they act different with dad, because they already learned the dynamic of, can I be, joyful and happy with this parent or that grandparent? Or do I need to be serious? Do I need to walk on eggshells? Is one of my parents emotionally unavailable or emotionally not in a good place? I mean, many of us have experienced moments like that where we ultimately ended up in that trap of making sure that the adults are okay for us to be safe and secure and okay. And that became a chore, that became a job as a child, which a child should not have that job. So the inner child work, absolutely. I always tell my clients over the phone the first time, I'm like, if you're ready to really get to the root, we got to do inner child work, because that's where it starts from. And now it's being actually discovered that from the 3rd trimester of pregnancy to 7 years old, a child literally just absorbs information from the womb. So Before it was like 0 to 7, and now it's like third trimester to 7 years old. We just absorb that information, and we're just sponges. We don't judge, we don't label. We just go, okay, this is it. Okay, then that's it. This is the way it is. And then between 7 to 9 years old, when, we start to kind of wake up and start to question, that's when, by the time we're teenagers, we're so lost, because what the programming and what the world around us is telling us, they often don't match.
So you're saying, for those of us who have younger kids, to let them wonder, let them question, and to kind of heal our own inner child so we don't impose any limitation upon them, essentially.
Absolutely. Because our fears become our children's fears. Our doubts become their doubts.
Our programming become their programming, be it around money, lack of money.
And then generation after generation after generation.
It seems so simple, but no, it's not, huh?
No, because it's so unconscious, our behaviors, right? That's why since my children were young, I always told them, I said, help me be better, because I have patterns that I don't even realize that I have, things that I might say, things that I might do, the way that I could treat you. And my kids became truly my teachers, because I gave them that permission to say, Mom, you're acting like so-so, right? Yep. You're acting like grandma.
Yeah. I want to go back to one thing that you said, because I heard it done before. There's a doctor, a psychologist that I follow, well known around ADHD, and he stated that ADHD is environmental, and so there's a stressor in the environment, and it starts from the wound, as you said. Was it stressful? Was your environment stressful growing up? And then so you develop that to cope. It's a coping mechanism that you eventually just adapt, kind of hold on to for the rest of your life. And I was dumbfounded by that, idea, like a stressful environment, starting in the womb. Like if the mother is stressed during that third trimester, as you mentioned, can actually triggers this. And us also, if say parents, by stressful environment, like parents are unhappy or arguing a lot, or, not lovey-dovey, the obvious things. That can cause a kid to really develop this diagnosis. It's really something to hear.
And come into this world already not feeling safe, not feeling secure, unfortunately. Absolutely. And I look at it more energetically. And to me, it's like children are sponges, and their auras are so open, just like animals. And to me, children who have that hyperactive energy is more so they absorb all the energies around them. But then how does that little body disperse that energy, right? Release that energy. So it could become this out of control feeling.
So
how
does the little body release that?
Exactly. Through movement, through a lot of energy, trying to release the energy. Just as when we look at a kid that's running around, we're like, oh, they're just trying to release their energy.
And you just let that be. That's a starting point.
I would say that's a starting point. But then what are our children told to do in classrooms, starting from kindergarten? Sit and draw for 45 minutes. Oh my God, those kids have so much energy. Sit and learn the letters and the numbers for an hour. Like, what kid has that ability to? We even as adults, when I sit with my clients and I'm working with them, if I'm in a session for an hour and a half, I can't even tell you how many times my body just gently moves, because in one position, you not only get tired, your leg might get numb and all this stuff. You can't just be stationary.
Yeah.
We're energy in motion. So
we got to keep moving.
Be so stationary. Yeah.
You got to keep moving. And the thing with school is they tell the kids to concentrate, to focus, to sit down and concentrate. But then I think about it. No one has ever taught the kids how to concentrate. Who taught you how to concentrate? I don't remember being taught how to do it.
They just said, do it.
Until I got older and started meditating and realizing that I can focus the mind, or I can control the thoughts that are coming in and decide what I want to entertain, what I want to ignore. And so not being taught that, in school. So it's on parent to actually take that initiative and do it. I have a toddler in the house, and so she wants to do 3 different things at once. We're putting on shoes. She wants to talk about the weather, and she wants to grab a book. And I have to remember that, like, it's my job to teach her how to focus. So I'll say, we're going to do one thing at a time right now. Right now, all we're doing is putting on shoes. That's it. We're not doing anything else. And that is starting the process of like, let's focus on one thing. Let's do one thing before we jump to the next. And then eventually start teaching her how to meditate.
Absolutely. And I feel you already are, because in helping her to really just do one thing at a time, you are so actively teaching your child to be present. And that's the gift that everybody's seeking for, because everybody's either in the past or in the future. Right. Either dwelling on what happened, what didn't work out and what hurt us, or, oh my God, based on that past, my future looks scary, but it's a mystery. It doesn't even exist. And so what are we doing? We're so caught up in the past. We're just dragging the past like a dead weight and dead body. And we're just literally poisoning our present and our future. So that's a beautiful point that you bring up, that just by doing that with your child, you are helping your child to be just present, one thing at a time, one moment at a time, not already there nor here.
And essentially, that's what you do.
Absolutely. Yep. Helping my clients come back to center.
The present in the moment.
Yes,
let's talk about the present in the moment. How powerful is that? What is the power here?
Oh, goodness. Is it not in the word? It's a gift. It's a blessing, truly. Because if your mind is not wandering around in 1,000 different places, as you know, Buddhists call it the monkey mind, constantly from tree to tree to tree to tree, and you're just like being, right? The other day I was meditating. This might be a good point to bring up. And I was like, all right, I know my higher self always calls me to just be, right? And I talk about it with my clients, and I was like, how much more simple can that message become? Because so many of my clients, while I understand it, what it is to be, my clients don't really understand it. They're like, okay, what does that mean, Kristine? I don't know what that looks like anymore. Now, when we were kids, you can look at your little one, and your little one is just being. They don't care to be anything else but to just be themselves. But we have put so many masks on. We don't even know what that being behind those masks look like. And in my meditation, my higher self would say, just pay attention. Are you in your thought? Are you in your being? And it immediately just made sense to me, because on a daily basis, what do we do? From one thought to the next, to the next, to the next. And just being is, you notice, like right now, you and I speaking, I am so in the present that there's no other thoughts in my mind other than just focusing on what we're doing right now. And that just brings so much lightness to the mind, to the body, because we're not constantly just stiff, trying to run to the next thing or worried about the next thought, because our thoughts have a lifetime of 30 seconds. They come and they want to float away. The only time we get in trouble is if the thought comes and we plug in and we go, oh, yeah, you're right. Uh-oh, this is dangerous. Uh-oh, this is scary. Uh-oh, what if that happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this? Oh, my God. And we go through scenarios. Sometimes even with my logical brain, my left brain, I just literally have fun with her. And I go, you are so dramatic. And just by me saying that to my mind, the thought loops suddenly just quiet.
Let's talk about hypnotherapy. How do you help your clients? They go under, they're conscious, but not.
Exactly. You said it. That's exactly what it is. So many people have misconceptions about what hypnotherapy is. And honestly, hypnosis is a natural state. We go through it, as I said, throughout the day. If we're reading a book and we feel emotions, if we're watching a movie, we feel emotions. If we get scared from the music of the movie or the scene of the movie or what was said, that is all hypnotic states. But the most closest to what hypnotherapy is like is right before we fall asleep, that state of I'm awake, but I'm just kind of like drifting, but your senses are so heightened. And because we are beings that learn and grow through our senses, right? Taste, touch. Why is it the first thing that babies realize, oh, I have feet, and they pull their leg and they put their toes in their mouth, right? Because that's how we learn. Okay, what does this taste like? What does this feel like? Right? Why do they just observe and what do I see? What do I feel? What do I experience? Because we're such beings of experience through our senses. That's why hypnotherapy works so well, because it goes into the senses, it heightens the senses. And right in the morning, as you're waking up, you're going through the same exact process. You're going through your kind of awakening of, okay, I'm awake, but I'm half asleep. And those are, for me, the most profound moments, especially in the morning. That's not so much at night, but in the morning, that as I'm waking up, I find myself, my greatest epiphanies, my greatest meditation, my greatest channeling happens right in the morning as I'm waking up, when the ego mind is not fully awake yet. It's kind of like in the background. And I'm just kind of like in this expansive space of anything is possible. And I just allow the information to flow, the guidance to flow. So the hypnotherapy is essentially a very natural state. It's nothing. I always tell my clients, and they kind of get surprised at first. They're like, what do you mean? I go, I'm not hypnotizing you. You're hypnotizing yourself. I'm just guiding you for you to hypnotize yourself. And in that space, you are in control. In that space, you tell me what you want to change. In that space, you let me know. Even the body, when my clients are not physically communicating with me, oh, the subconscious speaks through the body, which is why we call it, right, body language. It literally speaks. So anytime I give my clients suggestions, I would observe what the body is doing. Which side of the brain is even activated? There's taps from the foot, there's finger movements, there's thumb movements, there's body energy movement, there's breathing movement. There's so much that happens, that communication happens within that space of me going, okay, my client is comfortable with this, or they're not comfortable with this. And if they want to achieve that change, and I gave them a suggestion and the body responded, I gently shift the affirmation, the suggestion, so that eventually the mind and the body kind of communicate with one another. Because the work that I do with my clients, I always tell them the body keeps score of all of our experiences, especially if we have experiences that are stuck in our energy field for so long. It starts to show up in the physical, pains, aches, and other things that I don't even want to get into, deeper stuff, dis-ease in the body, is because there's stories, memories, beliefs, things that we have not worked through, we have not faced, we have not healed, we have not fixed, but changed. So that energy becomes physical. So when I work with my clients, I'm always paying attention to help not only the subconscious to shift, but the body to heal as well, because then they're synchronized and they're not going against each other.
Yeah, the nervous system is absorbing all that, especially if there's trauma and it's holding on to it. And then it just kind of builds up, and then it starts, you get into this, like you started out when you said people live in the fight or flight response. And there's always, there's that flight always with cortisol levels super high. And that can cause ailments. Yeah. A lot of ailments. And so I agree with you with the nervous system kind of latching on those memories, latching onto your nervous system and actually causing the body to respond. Let's talk about your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up?
Oh, I love that. The morning routines to me are one of the most important, which is why I loved your show title. I was like, she understands the process, because early morning, as we're waking up from our sleep, as we pass through that hypnotic state of delta, alpha, and we come up to quickly, oftentimes people jump into beta. It's the, oh, I should make that call. All the drama and our ego going, oh, you should have called. Oh, you didn't call. Oh, you should talk to that person. Oh, you didn't pay that bill. Oh my God. Oh, it's like the, oh my God, gloom and doom already, like 6 a.m. or whenever the person wakes up. So my morning routine, while before it used to be journaling, truly, until I got to a place where I tell my clients, journaling is wonderful, but it doesn't have to be a lifetime tool. Why? Because with the journaling, you're programming your subconscious and conscious.
Yeah.
More so subconscious, and your subconscious leads to the information to your conscious. The journaling is while you are in any situation, whether we're in school or at a new job or in your relationship, what helps us to get comfortable with the information? Repetition. Journaling to me is that repetition, repeat, repeat, repeat. And at first the ego puts up a fight. I tell my clients it's going to put up a fight. It's going to continue to tell you this isn't true. I don't believe in this. This is bullshit. This is not going to work. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. So while in the beginning for me, it was just truly journaling. Number one place I would start is the self-love, the self kind of being proud of ourselves, because no one ever tells us that the only person that you need approval from is from you to you. But we're always, from children to adults, seeking for that approval from parents and grandparents and people and bosses and coworkers and friends and all that stuff. And ultimately, it's truly acceptance and love from the self to the self. The best relationship we ever have is the one with ourselves, because when it's healthy, then our relationships with others are healthy. So my first affirmation was really, I'm proud of myself for. And I would just fill in the blank, whatever that proud of myself for was. That today I didn't get aggravated, or today, I don't know, I had all green lights and I was so happy, or today I felt blessed, or today I felt grateful, whatever that may be, being proud of ourselves and truly living with intention. And then I would just simply write my intention for today is. And after a while, slowly but surely, the journaling became less and less, because the programming is so strong in my mind now. When I'm waking up in the morning, automatically, the first thing that comes to my thought is no longer the beta mind, but the alpha and the theta and the delta mind, saying, I am love. I'm surrounded by love. Love is the only thing truly that there is in our world. So many people miss that point, that love is the only. And when I speak of love, I'm not talking about the limited and conditional love that we've seen from, if you do this, you'll get rewarded or not. If you do that, if you listen to me, right? That's conditional love. I'm talking about core, divine, pure love. And I speak of it because I've felt it so many times in the past 16 years. I know what that's like. It's like when your heart expands and is so full that you can't not just cry, because if you don't cry, your heart may burst. That's what I'm talking about, that love. And we can feel it in a meditation. We can feel it in a ceremonial setting. We can feel it in a wherever, whatever. We can feel it in a moment when, women and mothers that can be giving birth to their child, or somebody says, I love you for the first time, or you get a hug. It can happen at any moment. It can happen while you're driving a car. It's like our conversation of feeling blessed, right? In those moments where you feel so blessed to just be alive.
And you wake up with peace.
Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of people search a lifetime for this, to be in this state, to be in this peace where there's that unconditional love towards the self, but just such appreciation for themselves, for their growth, for where they're at. And it is a state of mind where a lot of people strive to get at, but you have to do the shadow work. You have to get in the work.
100%.
Because there's a lot of noise around it, but people just want a magic pill for it.
I know, my love. I agree. And that's why I tell my clients, you got to clean house first. You cannot just place all that sweetness on top of all the junk that there is. And that's where, the work I do with my clients helps, because first, that every session, without a doubt, is house cleaning. Yeah. That's what I do with my clients. When we let go of anger, resentment, fears, doubts, worries, childhood memories, triggers, patterns, when we let go of that, then when we do those affirmations in the morning, it sticks so much quicker. And this is why people get frustrated and they're like, oh, darn it, vision boards don't work, affirmations don't work. Yes, they do. But you got to absolutely do the work. And that work doesn't have to be 10 years you're stuck in your shadow work. No. Like I say, we have the capability of doing the work that fast. It's just how much, because sometimes people also are caught up in their trauma and drama. They don't want to let it go. They don't want the change. They say they want the change, but the moment the change comes, seldomly that happens with my clients. And I'm a person that I would not drag on the sessions. I just let them know gently. I'm like, you're not ready for the change yet. Because when I work with my clients, I know what the pattern needs to be. Growth. Every session after every session is growth. When I see one client, 1 session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions, 4 sessions, again, that very seldomly happens. I can count it on my fingers how many times that happened in the 16 years. But when I notice the client is not willing to let go of that pattern, they continue to say, but. I know they're not ready for that change. I know they don't want to let go.
Do you see a regression, or you just see that they're not moving forward?
It's kind of like movement, but so slight, because I know what my clients are capable of. I know what we're capable of. Like, I love seeing not that it's under my control. No, it's not. This is my client's journey, and I'm always just there to be a guide. I'm not there to control my client's life. I'm not there to force them or push them to make any change. But if I notice that, and because we work on so many layers of their life, if I see, let's say we worked on 5 layers from childhood to fears with, flying, driving, relationship issues, friendship issues, whatever that may be. And I notice, let's say 2 out of 5 in one session has changed. I'm like, ooh, we're on a great path. But if I notice session after session, the client comes and they're just resisting. I even have exercises for resistance, right? To help my clients release resistance. And then they come back from session after session after session. And they literally, their message to me is, oh, I didn't have time to do the exercise. Oh, I was too busy. Like that kind of a thing, right? When we are working with change, for me, it's not about just scheduling my client session after session. I literally just sit in front of them and I say, do you want to change? Are you willing to make change? Because while I give you all the tools, I can't do it for you. So that's the part where the individual has to be willing to make the change, do the exercises, when you say shadow work, it's not about being, dragged through the mud. It can be easy when we're willing. We don't have to suffer and struggle.
Shadow work is not easy. And I say that because I've done some work myself. However, the brain, as you know so well, it creates habits to keep us comfortable, right? That's how sometimes we drive home, we don't know how we got home. We honestly cannot contain every information that we see because it's just info overload. So the brain automate a lot of things to help us. The same way to automate those programming to keep us safe. And so change is hard naturally. So there's the resistance coming in from the brain alone. And also it's scary having to face the darkest parts of yourself. Although it can be a blessing, it could be the catapult you need to evolve to your greatest dreams and hopes. However, just facing them, it's a lot. You could be holding a mirror for someone, but they're scared for the life of them because they do not want to address that. Can you talk a little bit about that? My question is, how do you help someone begin to face that? And it seems like it's almost socially constructed, especially for men too. Socially constructed that you don't face the dark parts of you. It's too scary to go in there.
Yes, because we're always told suppress and keep moving, right? So yes, but I want to go back a little bit when you said it's hard to do the shadow work. Yes, if you're doing it all alone, if you don't have all the tools. Right? This is where the guidance, the mentorship, the healing, the hypnotherapist, the coach, this is where the community kind of like the team comes in. We all need support. If we're doing it by ourselves, yes, absolutely. So much of my path, I had to figure it out myself. I had to figure out, because truly my hypnotherapy school gave me the basics. They didn't give me all of it. My psychology school didn't give me any of that really part. It just gave me the foundation, but the rest I had to figure it out myself, which is why I vowed to help people to find the shortcuts so that you don't have to go through the hoops and the loops to try and find the way. I already went through that. I can help you get there faster. So when you do have the right tools, when you do have the right support, subconscious support, it's a lot easier this is why between 4 to 6 sessions, my clients can move mountains, even from childhood stuff, right? And I am a believer, when you have the right support, when you have the right tools, you can move through it a lot faster, because I'm at a place in my life where no more crawling, no more walking. I'm like, we're ready to leap as a human race.
What are your thoughts on alignment?
Alignment meaning? Being
aligned, feeling sovereignty, feeling that using your shadows or your past as a power. To get to the next level.
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes, like initially 16 years ago when I started this, so many people laughed at me. They were like, it's never going to work. And that became my fuel and fire. That stubborn Gemini side of me was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And much of my life, I feel like I have used that as my fuel and power to catapult forward. But now that I'm healed, I don't need to prove anybody wrong or right or anything. It doesn't matter, because everything I'm doing it for me, my children, my clients, and my happiness is everybody's happiness around me, whoever I touch, right? It's kind of like when you are so at peace with yourself, you are not there to prove any point. You're not there to force anything. It doesn't matter. It's not even that you don't care. It just does not matter, because they
don't phase you. It doesn't phase you.
Exactly. But in the beginning of healing, oftentimes it could be the fuel that kind of catapults you forward. But then at a point you come to this crossroad of, okay, am I going to continue to force, or am I going to just align, as you said, align with my higher self and just be? It's, to me, living with intention, living every day when I wake up in the morning. One of my affirmations is higher self, guide the way. Because my human self always wants to go the wrong way. So I do that. So I always just say higher self, guide the way. And my day just goes so much more effortlessly. And for me, especially this year has been such a profound year, because I am born on a snake year, and shedding old skins is such a profound thing this year, at least for me. And I know for many, many, many people, and including almost all my clients, it's like letting go of weight and things and patterns and stories and beliefs. And so for me alone, it's been so profound that from day to day, month to month, I am personally noticing my movement forward and my changes, and how I am literally leaping forward in life. And again, it's not easy. There are moments where your patterns are like, no, we're not leaving you. And you're like, yes, you gotta leave. I don't need you anymore. And it's kind of like you keep shedding layers and you keep shedding. And the more we're shedding, the lighter we're becoming, and the more peaceful that we are, and the more content that we feel. Yeah. So yes, it's continuous work. And I tell my clients, the journey of the soul is not really, oh, I did the work, now I'm done. No, it's continuous, because it's continuous commitment. Just like we commit to showering, right?
Yeah.
We commit to doing our hair. We commit to brushing our teeth. We commit to somewhat taking care of this human physical form. Exactly. So why is it so wrong for us to commit to tending to our soul, which our soul, our spirit, our inner world is literally the foundation of us living life to the fullest, or literally crawling on the ground every day, feeling like life is just like, you gotta just, I used to live life like that, like going against the current every day and going, why is my life so difficult? versus
it's exhausting. Yeah. It's exhausting.
Just turn around and swim with the current.
Yeah. You mentioned something, and I'm going to let you go. I'm taking way too much of your time, but this is such a good conversation. You mentioned the higher self. And I remember earlier you said that you grew up in a Christian home, God-fearing. So it was kind of taboo to even think of hypnotherapy. So now your language is different, right? Because now you're saying higher self, guide the way, guide the day. But how do you explain the higher self to someone who's never heard of that term? And how do you differentiate it from the higher power, from God, from the universe? How do you connect it?
Yes. So to me, the higher self can be it depends on every person. And I always respect my clients' belief systems. So the higher self for one person can be Christ consciousness, which I'm still very much connected to. Especially my Armenian clients would come to me and they would look at my space and they would see my crystals and they would see the statues and they're like, "Are you still Christian?" I laugh at that because to me, it's like, what is being Christian? I am truly following Christ consciousness teaching of the love, of the forgiveness, of not living my life in fear or not living my life angry or not living my life with unforgiveness. Is that not the Christ consciousness guidance and teaching? So anything other than that, if there's fear, I'm away from that divine consciousness. So when I speak of the higher self, I truly speak of that consciousness that we all return to after we leave the physical form. We all return to the light, the love. And because of that, to me, the higher self is the combination of all of it, just divine consciousness. I can't even explain it. It's kind of like this infinite, wise, all-encompassing mind, the light, and it's all of that greatness of Buddha and Christ consciousness and God and angels and archangels and spirit guides and guardian angels. I mean, we can give it a million different names. Ultimately, it's the same. It's love and light.
And it's within you.
Exactly. It's the breath that we're breathing.
Very cool. Kristine, what a conversation. What a conversation. Please tell me, how can we connect with you? Where can we find you?
Of course. You can find me on my website, www.journeystoheal.com, journeystoheal.com, journeystoheal.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your energy with us today. It's been such a blessing.
Thank you for having me. And I do truly feel blessed as well.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,